As a priest, I spend an inordinate amount of time in cemeteries, taking care of various types of burials. For me, the tomb, the graveyard, is not a source of distress and discouragement, but rather a place of genuine peace, an opportunity to commune with memories of the past and be reminded of the awesome reality of real life transcending the tiny drop in the ocean that is our earthly existence. Far from being a dead place, the cemetery is a place of tremendous energy, and I feel it intensely. Over the years, I have participated in very diverse funerals of people from many faith traditions, and have been edified by the beauty of the various rituals, from the magnificent ancient Jewish prayer of Kaddish to the Buddhist and Native American profound understanding of the oneness of creation. In Europe, I have helped to place the remains of dignitaries into the most elaborate marble tombs, while in Nepal I have been present for the simplest and most natural of Hindu cremations on the banks of a sacred river. Each is beautiful, and each brings home an aspect of the mystery of death and life. Still, I find that there is nothing quite like the sublime yet very human ritual of a Catholic funeral, with its resounding, joy-filled theme of eternal life, to bring peace and understanding to the heart. In Tibet, a land of mysticism and ancient wisdom, we find a startling and to us perhaps shocking burial practice which possibly more vividly than any other ceremony on earth ritualizes the soul's return to heaven. It is known as sky burial. In this, the earthly body is not placed in a hole and returned to the earth, but is taken high up onto a sacred mountaintop where it is carried off into the heavens by large birds. Now, I don't recommend we begin doing that in California, but the message is powerful and unmistakable. We do not belong to the earth, but to heaven, not to time, but to eternity. Most of us do not look forward to funerals of any sort, yet all of us are constantly burying. What do we bury, and how do we bury it? Very often we bury our talents, those special gifts that were placed precisely into our hands to make a difference in a world or in a life. But often it is easier to dig a hole for them, forget about them, and just be like everybody else. What do we bury? We bury our heads in the sand, not daring to look beyond ourselves for fear of encountering something that might challenge our comfortable way of thinking or living. What do we bury? How often do we bury people? Difficult people, irritating people, inconvenient people, or people who we think love us too little or too much, casting them out from our life and brushing the dust from our hands. What do we bury? Sometimes we bury love because it frightens us. Sometimes we bury God because He knows us too well. Sometimes we bury ourselves because we can. Jesus saw the tomb and wept, for what was buried inside did not need to be buried, but needed to live. He sees the tombs we make and weeps. He sees all we have buried, dug a hole for, or cast to the winds, or hidden in the deepest denial of which we are capable. He sees the earth burial of those hiding from their humanity, the sky burial of those running from their soul. He sees the fire burial of all the powerful burning passions that were meant to burn a path through hearts and worlds. the water burial of so many unshed tears that could have been shed and should have been shed for the cleansing and opening of insensitive, unseeing, uncaring eyes. He sees the heart burial and the dream burial, the burial of feelings and the burial of hope. And Jesus weeps. He weeps and he unburies. Take away stone, take away earth, whatever is there, whoever is in, come out. Untie, untrap, unhide, unbury. He topples the tomb, finds life in the lifeless, unforgets the forgotten, unburies the buried. No grave is so deep, no sky so high, no life so dead, no evil so great that the power of life does not triumph. Stand by the tombs that we have made and weep, but weep now tears of joy. See what was buried be unburied, what was silenced burst into song, what was of earth be lifted to the heavens. Be no longer entombed in the trap of time, but be carried to be buried in the eternal heart of God.